Good afternoon. Welcome to this session on enabling brands to tell compelling stories at scale. Without wasting time, I would like to start this session with a quick presentation on Is Your Content Telling You a Story by Sushant Dubey, Executive Vice President, Sify Technologies. Over to you, Sushant.
In May 2021, Yohani Diloka de Silva from Sri Lanka suddenly rose to prominence, became a brand, got recognized globally for her album Manike Mange Hite, which is a very popular song. Patanjali, one of the fastest FMCG brands in India, which was launched back in 2006, gained prominence over a year and took the positioning, narrated the story of products based on Ayurveda, gave a very stiff competitions to many global brands in India and forced them to change their narrative and launch products which are based on Ayurveda to stay in the market and to retain their customers. Similarly, when Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer superstar, exclaimed agua means water in Portuguese, as a gesture and changed the two bottles of Coke from water in a Euro 2020 press conference. That gesture costed $5 billion downside of share prices for the famous Coke brand in the globe. Welcome to the new digital world, where one right tweet can get you response from the highest authority in the government, from the CEO of a company, and where one right content in the form of a song, in the form of a narration, can make you a celebrity very quickly. This is the digital world where data is the new nuclear power, and the stories and the content built through the data are leading the way for customer engagement, different business models, product and services offerings as per the customer choice, and for staying relevant in the market. So what is a critical question we are looking at today? A very critical question arises, which is your content telling you a story? And that is a question which we'll be contemplating today with the upcoming few slides. So today, with the content boom, the digital shift is ongoing. The digital shift is the new normal, and it's driving the huge content demand. You can see here that while TikTok is banned in India, in 2021, TikTok was the most downloaded app in the world, with 656 million downloads across the globe. And while most B2C brands focus primarily on distributions through Facebook, through LinkedIn and Instagram, but the rise of the platforms like TikTok cannot be ignored. It shows how the buyers, the customers, the audience can quickly and radically shift into new platforms that requires brands to tailor the content for staying relevant in the market, in front of their buyers, and parallelly keeping up with the competition. The audience are becoming larger and larger. As of July 2022, there are more than 5 billion internet users, 4.7 billion social media users worldwide. Now, alongside the population growth, the other technology innovations which are coming across, the developments, the new infrastructure which is coming across, like 5G, and the improvements, the technology improvements, are continuing to drive these numbers up. That means that more and more people are on internet evaluating brands, and content is the best way to engage with those users, with those audience. Obviously, with all this, there is more competition. Post-pandemic, we have seen that the e-commerce share of retail sales increased to around 19%, to be very specific, 19.7% in 2022. In India, the festivities have pushed FMCG sales up by 11% in first 2 weeks of October 2022. That is with the forecast where the e-commerce share of retail sales will increase to 24% by 2026. That means buyers are moving online, sellers are moving online with them. That means the competition for buyer attention has shifted firmly into this new arena, that is the digital world, where the consumers are exposed to more products ever than ever before, and where the brands with the best content will win. So where all of this is taking us, and what is that brand are facing today? So while the content is the most important thing, it is the thing where the brands have the maximum problem. Brands have a content problem. Why we are saying this? We are saying this because brands are investing millions and millions of dollars in marketing and content to drive customer engagement, customer conversations. Millions of pieces of content is produced. However, despite this investment, most of the brands have very limited visibility into how their content is performing across the different customer journeys. That is both for internal as well as external customers and the campaigns which they run for these customers. Unfortunately, most of these brands are putting money for creating a content for which they have very limited visibility in terms of the engagement which that brand is creating, the loyalty which that asset is creating or that content is creating, and the revenue which is bringing on the board. So there are certain questions which a brand usually asks, but have very limited answers to this. And I would like you to remember these questions. We will try to answer them as we move further with our slides. That is, what's the cost and time involved to make this image? Where is the image being used? These are certain productivity questions, which are standard questions. And then we have performance questions like, is this driving engagement on our social channels? Does it convert on our e-commerce site? Is this the best image to use based on the demographic target? Why this is happening? This is happening because most of the solutions, including the traditional DAM, focus on creation, approval, and management of final assets. Now, this forces brands to publish the content across different channels for different campaigns manually. And by doing so, they lose the insights, some very insights in terms of how that content is performing, and also which content is performing better, how they can further optimize the content basis the customer choices, basis the customer engagements. So what is the question brand should ask from the solution which they are looking for? And the answers lies that the solution which can support your customer journey. Our customer journey usually is into 4 to 5 stages. Here you can see we have categorized them in 4 major steps, starting from building the awareness of the brand. How the brand builds awareness about their product, their services, or their offerings. Recently, you would have seen in India, one of the famous bathroom brands has launched an awareness campaign to tell to their customers, to make them aware that they are also coming and launching solutions. That is Jaguar. Similarly, there are other brands which are coming up with the new offerings, or even for their old product and services, they have to sustain the awareness campaign for the new users, for the new buyers. So that is a very important stage in the customer life cycle. And obviously there are KPIs and the channels through which these brands are building these awareness, which you can see there. The second critical stage is the consideration. That is how the messages, how the story, how the content can be personalized to encourage purchase, to make sure that the customer's engagement is increased and they consider purchase of the items, of the products. The third major stage is purchase, where the content is optimized, the digital assets, the images are optimized so that the customers go and purchase the product and services and get to the shopping cart conversations. And then eventually, once they are customers, the other most critical aspect is how the assets are encouraging the repeat business, how the brand is retaining the existing customers, encouraging them to come back again and purchase again. So the KPIs, as you can see, is usually revenue, the loyalty, the cart size, the referrals they are bringing on board for the brands. And that's where it is important that the brands should look at a modern digital asset management solution, DAM. A modern DAM allows the brands to manage the creative assets at large scales, facilitate workflows, and also automate the distributions of the content across different channels, which is not possible, or which has very limited possibilities with the manual mode. So what are the key components which a brand should look for in a digital asset management? That is including the centralizations of the large volumes of the assets at one place, the organization so that it becomes easily searchable and accessible to the right users at the right time, the management of the assets rights, who is using it, whether they have the permission to use it, where all it has been used so that the content is used by the right people in right places, and then integration with all the technology stack seamlessly, which is there in the organizations, so that the content can be shared across the data systems. Eventually, the digital asset management solution, the modern digital asset management solution, should also offer the features of orchestrating the creative workflows and the reviewing of the processes across the departments, and then tracking and distribution. That is where the content is being used, both internally and externally, and how you are publishing your content across different channels, where it needs to go. Here, we are very proud and we are very happy to introduce Tenovos, which is the data-first, most comprehensive digital asset management platform. Unlike the traditional digital asset management solutions which are there, Tenovos manages the entire life cycle of an asset. Tenovos is a modern solution as it is designed to streamline and automate the complexities of creating, managing, and approving global content. Now, once finalized, the assets can be published directly from the Tenovos across the different stages of the customer life cycle or the customer journey. And this also allows brands to not only track where the content is used, but it also helps them to understand the return on asset, ROA, so that the future content can be optimized to gain the maximum customer attention. And that's where you're seeing Tenovos as a platform offers creative, approval, publishing, and performance of the content. Now, what I have told you, this slide basically talks about, and this slide is showcasing that data is the hidden king. Data, as I said earlier, is the new nuclear power. So on one side, the productivity where the brands can understand and brands can look at where their data is after the centralization of the data. They can find data quickly. They can reuse the data. The collaboration can happen. It's like answers to the normal business as usual queries, or I can say it is like a headache for which there is an aspirin. That is a productivity part. But then there is a candy, there is a chocolate bar on the right side, which is performance. That is where the innovation lies. That is where we are introducing the new platforms like Tenovos, which is talking about that the content can be published across different channels. The content usage can be looked at into. The content performance can be looked into to understand the return on asset, which you see down below, so that the content can be optimized for future users and for getting the new set of customers, re-engaging the existing set of customers for the company, for the brand, and for the sales. So now brands can tell the ultimate story. With Tenovos, brands are not only more productive with content creation, but are able to understand the performance of that content. And by leveraging the machine learning and AI/ML, the brands can start to dynamically optimize and personalize the content at every stage of their customer journey. And with the understanding of the return on assets, brand can be more efficient with their content and media spend. And parallelly, they can also optimize their storytelling efforts. And remember the questions which we were asking in our first slide, which is who has access to this image? So only our UK agency has access to this image. What's the cost and time involved to make this image? It was created using existing assets. Similarly, on the performance side, does it convert on our e-commerce site? More people purchased on e-commerce site based on this image than any other. And this image worked really well on Instagram. So once the brands have more insight, as we said earlier, they would be able to optimize, they will be able to reuse, they will be able to produce content which have better customer engagements across different channels which the brands has. Now, am I only saying this, or this is a reality? This is a reality because this solution, Tenovos as a platform, is used by renowned brands globally. One of them is Amazon Prime, where Tenovos serve as the platform for creatives to discover assets and collaborate on marketing content. Similarly, it is used by Brown-Forman, which has more than 25 plus brands. It is used for a digital content modernization project, which is aimed at enhancing how brand content and product information can be shared across with the field sales team and external agencies, including distributors and vendors. So with this, I would like to thank you for your time. We would be very happy to take your queries, any clarification which you may require on Tenovos, on Sify, or on the overall solutions, and how we can help you in achieving your digital ambitions. Thank you.